everybody. Welcome to Louder Than the Noise. I'm G, and this is Bri.
I'm Bri.
We don't know who we are. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but we welcome you to join us tonight in tonight's topic, where we will be discussing from a Christian perspective as well as an older woman perspective.
Whoa.
About I'm not supposed to say
older woman.
Mature woman's perspective,
like
seasoned woman perspective on today's hot topics.
All right, y'all. So today we're going to be talking about delusions in relationships. So basically, what we're going to be explaining is the myths, the things that you walk into a relationship, either it being a marriage, how Hallmark has tricked us. Nothing against Hallmark, the movies be on point sometimes, but how we as people, we start to get things in our mind of how things are supposed to be. And even though you like, oh, it's a movie, oh, this is a myth, we still, because we're human, we start thinking in fairy tales, So even in parenting, we have a certain expectation. In all type of relationships, friendships, we have certain expectations. We know of certain myths, and we're just here to kind of discuss the delusions of relationships. So let's get into it.
Yes. I think one of the first things that I want to talk about is just, I don't know, I be laughing at this dating games nowadays. I've been married a long time, a long time. And I don't know, I know things have changed, but what happened to the stages and the phases of learning to just to get to know one another and just enjoying each other's presence without it being always so um, sexualized or even monetized and controlled by other people's opinion. I saw this thing on social media where this girl was mad because the dude took her on a date.
We're about to bring up the list.
Cheesecake Factory.
We're about to bring up the list. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
The Cheesecake Factory. And she was mad about this thing because she felt like she was better than that. And I was like, this is delusional. People are really and truly delusional.
And let me tell you why it's delusional. Because we focus, this is society, and it's sick sometimes. We focus on the wrong stuff. You trying to stuff your face. Now I'm not saying let's not go. I like a little cheesecake. Y'all see your girl likes some cheesecake. I like it all. But if I could go back to when I was younger and I could not be so silly, I wouldn't care. And I ain't never been like that girl. I ain't gonna lie. There was this one dude that took me to Chili's. And if you out there, let me explain.
Wait.
Let me explain. Hold on.
Don't put this little man on blast.
What had happened was I had got sick from Chili's before. And I didn't want to tell him, he was like, oh, let's go to Chili's. He was so gung-ho. And I was like, okay. I went. I got out of the car. I drove myself because, we'll talk about that later.
Right.
But I got in. I did not eat anything. And I think he thought it was rude. And I didn't tell him that I had got sick off there. We just had a little conversation. It was a little awkward because he like, why this girl ain't eating? And then, after that, it didn't work out. But it's fine. I got out. I enjoyed the date. I did not enjoy the date. Let's not lie. But this is not what we even talk about. Let's go back. I focused on the conversation. If I had focused on, girl, he done took me to Chili's, I wouldn't have understood the red flags that me and this guy had no business trying to date each other. We had no business.
Sorry, little man.
So thank you for taking me to Chili's, because if he would have wined and dined me at a steak place, your girl would have been sucking on the steak bone, and I would have been like, yeah, this the man I'm about to marry. We about to be married. We wasn't gonna have no more babies because I had already had some. But we're not talking about that.
Listen, that's so true. It's honestly for me, I think it's delusional because if you look at the definition of delusion, it's basically meaning think that you're loved by afar. And you create this fantasy in your head that that the world's centered around you.
Okay.
And I think a lot of times that's what I think that's what social media has really brought us, a world of self-centeredness, where people are so attracted to the aesthetic of a thing that they miss the um, core, and they miss the beauty, and they miss the growth, because they all want to appear as if they've arrived.
Right.
And I think that's how people sometimes enter relationships. They just like, okay, we just gonna start on this high standard. You're gonna take me to a 5-star restaurant. You're gonna have me flown into the town, and you're gonna
Ridiculous.
wine and dine me because I'm just that girl, you know. And it's like, I'm not knocking people. I'm not saying you're
If you
not
want to do
that
that.
girl. I'm not saying that. But I think sometimes people have this very diluted impression of themselves. You know, I think social media has really pumped people up in a negative way to become self-centered, and they act like they stuff is the best stuff. They act like they stuff is the best stuff ever, and that they stuff can never be matched, or
Yeah.
or and most of the time when a female runs into a man that likes them, a man will take you to Cheesecake Factory, but it'll feel like a 5-star restaurant when you with the right one.
When you with the right one. And that's the
Yeah.
point. I think we have to stop focusing on the things. I'm not saying if you got it like that, absolutely do it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if you listen, I have met so many different people and it's amazing. People that have bank, they're like, listen, we going to the Sizzler. I don't even know what the Sizzler is, but I heard about it, and whatever. It ain't like top notch.
Top notch.
But they're trying. If a guy is really trying to get to know you, I heard somebody talking about, don't take me to the coffee shop, don't take me to this. Coffee shops is where you have conversation. What are y'all trying to do? Get free meals? I mean, yes, get the free meal, but get the conversation.
Get the free meal.
Get the free meal. But get the conversation, because this is how we miss it. We miss it so bad because homeboy, and listen, I got so many stories. I know some people who have fronted. You ain't got a pot to
piss in.
I've seen guys who don't have nothing,
right?
Who living at home, not with their mama, but somebody else's mama in the basement, and have nothing, and have showed up at dates like they was billionaires, and got some people caught up. So I think what we have to do is the delusion of, oh, he got to make 6 figures, he got to do this and that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't get the man that makes 6 figures. If that's what you need to do, go ahead and do it. But a lot of times those men,
I say don't.
They looking for a different type. Like for me, just because I'm me, I wanted to grow with my husband.
Yeah.
I wanted somebody, because you're not about to be like, well, I had this bank before. No, honey, we got it together. So if you gonna leave me, I'm taking all. Instead of getting somebody that's already a billionaire that's gonna tell you like, nah, we about to sign these checks, or right, you on this type of allowance, this mine. Not saying everybody's gonna do that, but we have to get out of that mindset that I have to have this, it has to be this way. Society is telling you got to have a man or a woman that looks like this. Society is telling men they got to have big booty girls. Get your big booty girl if you want one, that's on you. But she needs something else more than a big booty.
But that's all delusion to me.
And hold on, because some people is born with big booties. They don't go buy the booty. So if you want that,
talk about those BBLs walk around here. That's delusion, because they think that stuff look good, and some of them stick legs.
Some of it don't.
Some of it don't look good.
Let's be honest. Some of it don't. Some of y'all, I'm like, dang.
I'm jealous.
Let me get the bag.
I need to go. Let me fly out to Miami and do something. But I think that all feeds into that delusional mindset about yourself. Yeah. I think if you sit down and you just have a real talk with you, people want to be connected with someone who's already arrived, because they believe that would elevate them through their own growth process. Money does not help you mature. You have to go through your maturing process. And it's always good if you're connected with someone who has money. It's always, that's one less thing. But that doesn't mean that's going to be the happy thing.
Right.
You want to be with someone that's growing. I honestly, one of the things I used to love when me and Jason would date, because we didn't have a lot of money. We were dumb, and we only thought that we needed love
That's so cute.
to pay the bills. Love don't pay the bills.
They don't.
Yeah, but it make your broke
Be out
season a
on the
whole lot
streets.
easier. When you're broke and you love somebody, it's way better than being broke and you don't like them. But
that is true.
But we used to do the cheapest dates. We would go sit in a park together and just talk. And then, yeah, like we would just, it was always very inexpensive. We would go to Pizza Inn.
Pizza Inn. Okay,
it's called a Pizza Inn. And they had $5 like Tuesday. So we would go there after school and we would sit there and we would eat pizza. Been married
for 25 years. Yeah. They know the struggle.
We would eat pizza and spaghetti for $5 at this Pizza Inn. But it wasn't the place that really made it romantic. It was just the company and the learning one another. So, sometimes when a person has this ideal that you have to hit this delusional checklist in your mind, then you are missing out on some good quality people that are not there yet. They may not ever be there. You're the one that you're assigned to may not ever be a six-figure. They may just be a person that's just loving and growing with you. And six figures is not the ultimate goal. Okay, to me, six figures is not the ultimate goal. What's the ultimate goal is to be connected with someone who is going to love you when you got zero. That's the ultimate goal, because those people you can grow with. Those people, when you get six figures, they're not walking around here acting like they brand new. Those are your ride or die. So that's what the goal should be. Everybody wants the six-figure dude, but I really feel like you need to have a dude that's willing to be with you at zero, baby. They got a plan. They're going to get you out of there. They ain't going to leave you at zero, but willing to stay with you at zero. So
now let's flip it on the other side.
Let's flip it.
Now we ain't saying get with Tommy who ain't got no job. We not saying that. But what I'm saying is,
that's true.
If that happens to be your portion, go on and do that, because Tommy not gonna stay there. But Tommy, let me talk to you, bro. Yes, if you out here trying to date, and again you ain't got a pot,
Tommy ain't qualified.
Tommy might not be qualified today. Tommy need to wait.
That's a good topic, right there.
Tommy need to go get his bag and then come back with a few coins at least that he can pay for Chili's.
Right. That talks about that's that prerequisite for dating. Like when we're talking about being delusional, we're talking about people who are mature enough to date. Just because you're 25, but if you really and truly, because it used to be if you live home with your mama, you won't no good, but with today's economy and the housing market,
because I'm about to move back home with my mama.
Like, don't play, move over, mama.
Gonna come back home.
So, sometimes, you could be actually doing good in different living arrangements, but it's a mindset. You could tell if you connected with somebody who has that I'm a run to mama mentality versus someone who is using that time space as a stepping stone to something else.
Yes.
So if you out here saying, they were talking about getting with somebody that's broke and ain't got no job. No, baby, I'm not talking about that.
Mm-mm. Unless y'all like 18, 19, and y'all both ain't got no jobs, and y'all, then try that out. But I'm gonna give you an example. I'm about to let y'all get in my business a little bit because I got examples.
Don't have your husband calling me.
Hold on, listen. This the good one. This the good angel. This one right here, I done been through some stuff. So let me tell you.
No.
I was in my probably early, maybe late 20s, early 30s, in between that age, okay? I had already had kids. Let's not talk about it. But I had a guy that was interested in me. He's like, oh, what a day. I'm like, okay, yeah. This brother wanted to pick me up on a skateboard or a scooter, something, one of them, skateboard, scooter. First of all, I wasn't as big as this, so I probably could fit. I could fit.
Make it work.
But I said, and at the time, had 2 cars. And I said, this brother want to pick me up. I said, well, how about you meet me at the restaurant? Long story short, I was too old to be dating a guy that lived with somebody and was on a scooter skateboard.
Yeah.
I was too old. I was already past that. If I had been 18, 19, no kids, I probably would have entertained that. So you got to know where you are. I'm not saying don't go out with a guy because you don't like Cheesecake Factory.
No.
I'm not saying don't date a guy because he don't have a car. I'm not saying don't date a guy because he don't really have no money. He need to probably come up with something. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's certain times where you are. Also, the conversation wasn't really there. I wasn't feeling it. And there was a certain place in my life where I was like, I already been there and done that. I already been with the dude that don't have no car. I done been with the dude that live in the basement with a whole bunch of people and some kids. I was past that point. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, no, I'm actually looking for something further. So you have to actually know where you are and don't let society dictate who you're going to date because of how much money they make. Right. And let's talk about y'all, some of y'all, men and women, these penises sizes and all these sizes. We just gonna get into it. Yeah, her face. We gonna get into it. Because I'm tired of the foolishness.
No, wait,
we gonna just get into it.
What are you about to say though? What are you about to say?
Nothing crazy because I think the kids is upstairs. So I'm gonna respect your house.
No, you're
but even the myth of that, I gotta have this 6'7" dude. He gotta look like my arm. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Come on, y'all.
That's
Stop.
Out there too.
Stop it. Oh, I gotta drive the truck before I gotta test drive the car before I buy it. Y'all have to do all that.
You know, honestly, I think that push, you know, I feel like honestly for me that's a demonic push. Because it connects people to be more willing to have the sex with a person before they're willing to go to Cheesecake Factory with a person. They're willing to have sex with a person before they're willing to post that person on their page.
Dang.
You know, and I'm like, dude, sex has become so nothing. Mm-hmm. It don't mean nothing. Like, you really out here piece of cake in it. You can have a slice, you can have a slice, you can have a slice. And it don't matter. That is actually okay. But you want to post somebody on your page? That's no.
But you can slide in between these legs.
I don't understand. Like, I don't understand that you willing to get down with something. You willing to get down, get down.
You dropping it low and spreading it wide.
Right, but you gonna post that person, won't even update your status on your page.
And this is the thing, like, sex is great in a marriage. It is. Out here just willy-nilly, listen, people ain't clean. I'm sorry. Let's just put it out there. People giving you stuff. You don't even know where it came from.
That's scary.
Stuff. I heard mono is going around again. I said, ain't mono, like, is that 19? When was mono even out? Like, why is people, and I'm not saying you can get mono from other stuff, but you can get mono from kissing and sexually transmitted type deals and all. It's at the point now where it's kind of like, okay, can we do something else? Because what I've learned now that I'm married, in a relationship, sex is not the priority. It's a lot of stuff that deals when it comes with being in a marriage with sex and all that. Because when I got married, I was like, oh, it's going down every night.
That's that newlywed.
It's going down. It's going down.
That newlywed talking.
But it's the myth. It's the delusion because you think that. Now, I'm not saying all married couples ain't getting down every night. If y'all are, good for you. Somebody ain't working. But there are times where you're like, yeah, I want it, but babe, I just work 18 hours. I can't even see straight. Like, or you just like tired, or I mean, things go on in marriages. I've heard people, medical conditions, those kind of things.
Yeah.
You have to start learning a person because at the end of the day, when you get married, it's so many different layers to life that sex is not always going to be able to be gotten every single night. And you have to control yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, even in a marriage, because there could be something. What if homeboy got into an accident and boom, down below, don't work no more? Then what you gonna do?
Believe God for healing.
You better please lay hands. But
gonna speak to it in the name of
in
Jesus.
the name. It's got to be risen. But
Jesus
after
rose.
that,
Jesus rose.
but after that, you still, even somebody might come home tired. What are you going to do?
Right.
And this is one of the myths that come in. This is why porn is so, it's just thick in all types of relationships and marriages, because now you ain't got no self-control, because society told you that you got to get down every single night. Society has told men they have to have sex, like breath in the air, oxygen, you need it. I'm not saying biologically they probably don't, but come on, y'all. Some of y'all, self-control for a little while.
Right.
And so at this point, the myth of I gotta have sex, or I gotta, you have to start learning somebody when sex is off the table because of whatever. It could be medical conditions, it could be somebody's just sick, it could be somebody's out of the country and they're away. When sex is off the table, what do you really have? And a lot of couples realize they don't have nothing in common. I don't even like you unless you on top of me. Or I'm on top of you. Or something's going on sexually. Somebody's on top of somebody. Something's on top of something. But at the end of the day, y'all can't even talk. Y'all don't even like each other because sex was such a priority.
Honestly, I've been married a long time, right? And, I think that sometimes that's a myth too, that people believe that if they're married to the same person for a long time, that sex life is boring. But I would honestly say I've had some single friends and that are not honoring God, but they don't be acting like their sex life is that much better. They don't be talking like their sex life is that much better, you know. But honestly, I would say that is a myth. Your intimate life, your sex life is what you make it.
Mm-hmm.
It's where you prioritize it. It is not, I don't know. Some people want to get down every day, but that's the freedom that they have.
I ain't saying don't. If you want to, and you married in a committed relationship, get it in every day. I'm not saying don't. I'm saying make that not the top priority.
Yeah. It has to be
It can't
commitment.
Be.
It really has to be.
It's got to be conversation. Y'all got to love each other. Y'all got to do something else. Right. Y'all got to be able to be like, okay, if we don't have sex tonight, we got more in common than sex.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna say this out here. It's a challenge. If you're in a marriage and your spouse is dealing with pornography, how do you handle that? One of some suggestions that I would make.
No.
After you do that, after you do that, you definitely need to sit down and have a very transparent conversation. Don't just look at it as your own inadequacy. Don't be like, "Oh, I don't do it for you. Why are you over here watching squirrels make out?" You have to sit there and have a conversation. I don't know. You have to have that conversation. Like, what is it that you feel like you need? Because it's a driving force. If it's a demonic thing, it's a demonic attack, but it's also stemming from something missing within the character, right? Satan doesn't attack where he doesn't have an open door. He only suggests. So when it's an act, when you're out there actively flowing in that sin, that is because now you have allowed a desire to grow into sin where you have an action connected to it. So pornography is just one of those things that it's the action is only one part of it, but it's the deep down core of what's kind of going on the inside. What is inadequacy in you? Are you curious about something? Do you feel like you're not getting that visual that you really need? What can we do together to help you defeat it? And hopefully the person that's struggling with it, if you're listening and you're struggling with pornography, know that, God still loves you. He still cares for you. He wants you free. You're not worth crap. You're not trash because you've done it. But you do owe your spouse and owe your body, because sexual sin, it sins against the body. You do owe your body time to heal. And you need to be transparent of what you really need in your marriage. And if y'all find yourselves in a situation where sex is a real struggle and you're not fulfilled, it's up to you. You got the power within each other to crank it up a notch.
Y'all
And
better crank it.
crank it up or crank it down, however you need to do, and get it. Always be willing to experiment with your spouse. My husband always says the bed is undefiled, which I think is just his way of saying anything goes, right? So don't be afraid to have those conversations. If your spouse is needing something, ask yourself, can I give it to him? Can I give it to him? And if I'm not strong enough to hang from the chandeliers, then let me go work out and get some strength to build my upper body so I can do what I need to do.
Because wait until about 12 weeks, y'all about to see. No, I'm just
But so just know that if that's something that's happening in your marriage, doesn't have to be over because that you experienced that. I've overcome pornography. It was a part of my life for a long time. It wasn't because I was lacking anything, just because it was a character flaw within me. I'm really glad that I'm free from that. Really glad that my household is free from that. But we were young and dumb, and honestly, we was stealing. Well, not stealing. We was watching porn when they had VH tapes,
not VHS.
VHS,
not the VHS tapes. Popping them in,
rewinding. Like what she do? And honestly, that my curiosity of always wanting to be able to be to give Jason the best, I started that. Like I'm gonna do what everything I see that girl do. I'm doing all of that because I want him to be satisfied. But really, that curiosity just struck an addiction that I had for a long time. So if you're there, God loves you. He cares about you. You don't have to have it in your relationship. You're only a slave to you. So,
and I say, don't be ashamed. What I've learned in relationships, period, because we're supposed to be talking about just relationships. And what I learned, especially in my marriage, to be honest. I'm so honest, I almost scare myself. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't gonna get into it, but I tell my husband like, "Hey, listen, let me tell you something." And he be looking at me like, "What?" Yes, I have to tell you this. I gotta be transparent because I need accountability. Because if not, I know how to sneak and not get caught ever.
I don't even know how to sneak.
Ever, I do. I make it my point not to get caught. But anyway, so I need that accountability. So I have to say it. And I say, don't be ashamed. If you are struggling with something or something is, on your mind or even thoughts, like some people like, oh my gosh, I would never think about cheating on my husband. Okay, well, I have. And I'm not going to lie. And it's not because he didn't do anything. It's not because he didn't do something that I didn't want him to do or he said something I didn't want to say. Just as a human person, thoughts cross your mind that you have to cast down. That's biblical. And if the thought never crossed your mind, praise God, you just wonderful. But thoughts cross my mind, and I have to be like, no, not this one, not me. And if it keeps reoccurring, and I feel like I have some type of addiction or I have some kind of stronghold, husband,
let me talk to you for a little bit.
we need to talk because I need some accountability. Or now, listen, y'all, I was super private. Now this one, I don't know how she done it. I don't know how because now I had a conversation with her. Maybe one day we'll talk because I called her. I was like, listen, let me tell you something. And she talked me back into senses, right? So you got to have accountability. You can't be ashamed. If you can't talk to your partner, get an accountability partner. Get somebody that you know that they're going to be like, oh. So, yeah. And then they on the phone with somebody else or they using it against you like, so she going through with her husband. And I kind of like him because he fine.
Somebody gonna be bald head. I'm gonna pull somebody bald head.
Somebody wig about to come off. And if it ain't a wig, I'm gonna make it a wig.
Girl, they gonna need one. But yeah, no, that's so true. Like, and as we sum up this conversation, we hope that this was a blessing to you.